Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elina Mattila, as Dan was saying. I'm the Executive Director of Mobiforum. And I'm here to talk about some of the research that we've done at one of our expert groups into consumer attitudes towards open banking. But let me quickly tell you first what Mobiforum is, so you have some context. So we are an industry association working in the digital financial services space. We bring together banks, financial institutions, and technology providers to discuss what the business models of this evolving ecosystem will look like. And we talk about topics that we expect to become reality in about 1 to 5 years from now. So AI in financial services, IoT, and open banking. We're a not-for-profit organization, and we're a member organization. We have about 50 members at the moment. We're very Europe-heavy, but also have a good presence in North America. So we have a lot of big banks as members, as you can see, as well as some smaller banks. Also, technology providers. They bring their own expertise to the table. But I'm here to tell you about some research that we did into consumer attitudes to open banking. So our open banking expert group did a survey together with ITA Group to understand what consumers think about open banking services. We did the research in 5 European markets. And in the research, we didn't want to use the words open banking because we feel like that's industry jargon and consumers don't need to know what that means. So instead, we asked them about 5 use cases that we expect that could happen under open banking or that have happened already. And we asked them, would you use this service? If so, who would you want to be the provider of this service? And if not, why not? And these use cases were account aggregation, very simple. Pay by bank, which is basically paying an online retailer straight from your bank account, and with the retailer acting as the PISP, so you would give them consent to go and initiate payments from your account. Purchase financing, which is when you're buying something a little bit larger online and you need a loan for it. So you give access to the retailer's loan provider to your account information so they can provide you with a loan there on the spot and you can go ahead with your purchase. Also identity check, which is something where, for example, if you're buying something that you need to prove your age for example, alcohol online, so you give permission for your bank to confirm with the retailer that you're over 18. And financial product comparison, which is when you, for example, want to get a mortgage and the provider of the service would look at your account spending details and income and so on and go to different mortgage providers and give you the different options for it. So the results for this survey, we found that there's interest in these kind of open banking services. Around 30% of consumers were extremely interested or very interested in these types of services. The level of interest was very similar for all the use cases. Only the purchase financing was a little bit lower, and that was because people said they don't want to borrow money. Also, account aggregation, which is the one that has been very much hyped in the industry, was no different to the others. And when we asked those people who were interested in these services, who would you want to be with the provider of this service? People said with a huge majority, banks. So this actual data is from the account aggregation service, but it was very similar for all the use cases. So people still trust their banks. People still want their banks to be the providers of their financial services. So those consumers who were not interested in this service, we asked them, why wouldn't you use this service? And overwhelmingly, it was lack of trust. So people were worried about the security of their personal data and worried about the security of their finances. This data was from the identity check, but it was, again, very similar for all the use cases. So in a new kind of service, people tend to default to fear. So this kind of underlines the importance of security when it comes to people's financial services. And it's something that banks as well as other providers should definitely keep in mind when thinking about financial services. Another very interesting finding that we had from this survey was that people are very easily persuaded to change their behavior. So we asked people to think about their preferred payment method online, and then said, how likely would you be to change that method if an alternative method was more convenient or more secure, or there was a financial incentive like bonus points or discounts? And over 50% said that they were very likely or likely to change their payment method. So on the flip side of that, only around 10% would not change their behavior. So this kind of shows you how easily consumers can be persuaded to change their payment method and other kind of financial behavior. And it kind of gives you the methods to persuade people to change. Also, it kind of underlines the importance of a good user experience and of convenience. So kind of the key messages that we found from this survey were that those companies that are likely to win in open banking are the ones that have a trusted brand and that can offer a very convenient solution to consumers. At the moment, banks are in pole position. They're still the most trusted brands for financial services out there, but of course the world is changing and things are changing. New brands are emerging, and with open banking, we don't know where it will lead and what kind of services and new companies will emerge and how the trust will shift over time. And obviously the biggest risk for banks in this is to be disintermediated from the consumer relationship by one of these new entrants. So that was very briefly the survey that we did on consumer attitudes to open banking. The report that covers all this and has all the data is free to download from the Mobile Forum website. You can also scan it from the QR code up there. And hope you enjoyed the reading, and thank you very much for your time.